Hello and welcome. Shoi fihi. Shoi fihi jbopre. Hello and welcome. Lojban people. Lojbanists. In English and Lojban are both funny. In English we're Lojbanists. And in the Lojban we're Lojban people. They're both funny. It's even funnier how we're Lojban bananas. I'm not even sure if that's loud. Alright, so today we are going to practice fronting the verb. Just that. I'm just going to practice fronting verbs. The verb is this. I just mean putting the verb as the first thing in the sentence. So, let's see. What's a good verb? Trishu is a verb. Trishu is a verb meaning tree. Trishu. I trishu phalos bati. I put the verb first. The verb is tree. Okay? Every language is just a funny thing. English is funny. Lojban is funny. You're going to have to get used to tree being a verb. That is the situation. Tree is a verb. We're going to put the verb first by starting by saying tree. Or another good verb is donkey. Chasle. Chasle farshmoni. Is a donkey is the moaning one. Before we were putting a noun first, like loshmoni shu chasle. The one who makes a nonverbal communicative sound is a donkey, or lo chasli shushmoni, or lo charju shuzvati. The pig is at, and instead of saying the pig is at, we're going to start with a verb like pig. Pig is a verb. Charju. Charshu follows zvati. Pig is a, but charshu follow now zvati. I charshu follow shliva. Shoy charshu. So, the way it works is that everything's a verb. So putting the verb in the front is pretty easy. You just say one of the things as a verb, and then the main verb of the sentence has a special role of like connecting the whole sentence, but that's like, because that's what there is a sentence, so that's what the verb has to do. There's not much else to do other than be the verb of the sentence. What else do you want a verb that you say to do? There are like some random little complicated bits of Lojban. The thing where show turns around which thing you go into the thing after you you start going into the places after the show. That's I'm gonna turn my bed yellow with one of these. Pelchu falochula. Yellow is a flower. A flower is yellow. The verb of the sentence is yellow. Alright, we're going to practice turning the verb first. Here's the sentence. Pelchu, starting with the verb. The verb pelchu, yellow. And then imipukrijipomikakpumvasulo pelchu shkana. I thought the Lord that I could make a yellow bed. Krishi. That's the verb of that sentence, so I'll put it first. Krishi, for me, pomipukakle po spasulo pelchu shkana. I thought that I was able to make a yellow bed. Ikukiminakakle po spasu, but I am not able to make it. So, I will do something else. Gasnu lodratafani. So, there's two different, you can say the two different orders. So if I'm going to say, I'm going to do something else, we can say two different orders. The verb, the verb is gasnu, to do. So first, we're putting the verb, gasnu. And then we can either, if we don't say anything next, then by default what we're doing next is going to the first verb, the first noun. We said a verb and the second noun. Yeah, alright. We said gasnu, so by default we're going to go next to the second noun. I know you didn't need to think of it that way. Definitely don't think of it that way. You can think of it, you're fine if you think of it right now while I'm telling you. But don't try to think of it that way while talking. It's like, it just sounds right. It's just going to sound right to you. Like, gasnu means to do a thing, and I'm doing cutting. I'm doing making the blade cut the thing. So I'm doing the cutting of the tree. So, gasnu pokatna. So then, mi gasnu pokatna, it's just the gasnu pokatna goes together like that, and you're gonna, that's what you're gonna hear is the verb, and then you go right into the direct object after the verb. That makes sense to do. I think it makes sense. I think it's a good way for the language to go. It's pretty simple. You're gonna hear it over and over again. Gasnu lonu whatever. Gasnu po whatever. And then if we wanna okay, so if we want to put the gasnu at the front, we just say gasnu, and then by default we're going to go to the thing, the x2, the sel gasnu, the selgau, the thing done. So gasnu pojibnilo khirma, being near the horses. And then we've moved on. When we say the verb, we've moved on from the person, from the doer. We're like gasnu, so it's just like I said gasnu, and I'm going to say what the gasnu does. And then at very first there was an idea that a sentence like that without a noun at the beginning was called an observative. Which this does, it doesn't, there's no, you don't need to know this. You don't need to know that it's called an observative and think of it as an observative. Nothing, that won't help you at all. But, so I don't know why I'm telling you this, but at first we had an idea that it was something called an observative, and that you were especially observing, like, when you, so, like, you were like, because you're saying, like, gasnu is doing the thing, so I'm like observing, I'm like gasnu, so I'm like, that's like, it's a special kind of thing where you're observing the gasnu, an observative. And I don't know where exactly they got the idea that they should have such a thing, or if they just made that up. But then it didn't really like mean anything or do anything that there were observatives, and nobody, like, I don't know, something you gotta understand about, like, when something's like, in the early history of Lojban it was like this, and then it was like this. That might sound to you like we changed Lojban, right? Like there were people going along chatting, and someone was like, well, I'd rather have it be this way, and the people who were chatting in Lojban were like, no, but I speak Lojban every day, and please don't mess with my Lojban. But that's, and people are sort of conveying that impression, but that is not at all what happened. What happened was that nobody spoke in the Lojban. There was no Lojban, but there were ideas. People were like, this is the idea. A sentence where you don't say the first noun is an observative. That's called an observative. So if you say, plipa, jumping, then that is an observative where you are observing someone jumping. I don't know, but I mean, that's made some sort of sense, but not enough sense that it matters. And there's also other times when you might want to leave out the verb other than you're like observing. Like maybe you're just saying about something happening without it happening to be observing. So the way we think of it now is just that you can put whatever nouns or verbs you want. So I just, for my main verb, I just use whichever thing I feel like. I feel like having barna, spots, be the main verb. So I'll just be like, barna. Now the main verb is spots, and whatever. I can go on to another sentence, keep talking about the horse with the spots. I can be like, barna, I hirma. Or I can be like, I barna, foi hirma lo melvi. Foi, substituting for fijo. Fijo hirma, tag, it makes a tag that's like we can tag different stuff, like gao tags who did it, or sekaha tags somewhere that's gone to, and we got all these different tags for tagging different things. But they didn't build in a horse tag, obviously, for tagging the horse. I mean, they could have. You wouldn't be too surprised with the things that they did make if they had made an easy way to make a horse tag. But since they didn't, it's only 4 syllables traditionally, or 3 syllables if you use foi to tag a horse anyway. You just say foi hirma, and then you get a tag that you can put the horse in the sentence. So you can just make a sentence that's like barna, spots, and that's the verb, and then foi hirma lo melvi makes a place for a horse. That usually spots doesn't have a horse, but if there was a horse place, and I'm imagining there's a horse place in the spots verb, and imagining it being the horse that has the spots. I barna foi hirma lo melvi, and then I put the beautiful one in as the horse. Which is, I say you can do that. I say, so that's why it's easy to put the verb first, or put whatever you want first, is because you can just make anything into a verb and put whatever things you want in your sentences, and they're not really observatives. Don't worry about observatives. Just, if you ever hear anybody say observatives, that's what that's from. It's an old thing. Okay. That was only a little bit of practice and some random explanation, but we got started. More verb fronting practice coming soon.